Hello, I'm JJ Terceira, and I am talking to you about fantasy baseball, one of my favorite things in the world to play. I've been playing on ESPN Fantasy Baseball for the past 3 years. This is my third year in this thing, and I'm just having a blast. My first year in it, I won, and so the next year in it, I played in a Champions League only, and the very last game of the year was a playoff between for the playoffs between the Tigers and the Twins, and they were just one game, one shot. Whoever wins goes to the playoffs. And so I dropped all my players and added every single player in free agency that was on those teams that was available. And I put them on my team, and I tied the guy who was ahead of me. And so I got the championship last year also. So talking to you this year, I'm currently third. I was as low as sixth or eighth. Just things as things get sorted out. I pretty much check it every day around lunchtime. I am in the league JJ Center. I created JJ Center League, which is not a Champions League only. It was one day. I got some friends in there, Stephen the Beast and Nick Quison. And here's what I do. I do fantasy baseball. I like getting into leagues that are automatic pick because I like adding players. My original players on my team include Neil Walker, Ryan Zimmerman, but he's been hurt all year, Matt Holliday, he's been hurt half the year, Andrew McCutchen, Jay Bruce, Drew Stubbs, Chase Utley, and Hanley Ramirez. Utley and Ramirez have been hurt and just not doing well by themselves, as you can see by their stats, that he's about as worthless. It's just crazy. Anyways, what I do is I add players that are streaky. I'm going to talk to you how to add players that are streaky. Like Alex Avila was basically slotted to, kind of sit in the back bench to Victor Martinez on the Detroit Tigers this year. But they put Victor at DH, and they're using him as catcher because he's younger. And he just went out and just started hitting some home runs and started hitting some RBIs. So I dropped my catcher, and I don't even know who I had. And I picked him up, and I've kept him ever since then. And it's hard to find out, like, how do you know who's good? How do you know who to keep? First of all, you want to look at the percentage owned. Every single league in the ESPN goes and it monitors how many leagues own that player. This decides how much percent they're owned, and a player rank of 15 days, they total up all the stats throughout the year, throughout that 15 days, and they rank them based on everyone else. So what I look at this stat a lot when I go to add players. I look at the stat a lot with my own players, see how well they're doing. Like I picked up Mike Morse. He's just been doing crazy this year, been batting really good. I picked up all these other players, and they just were getting streaky, and the ones that I've kept have been streaky. I just picked up JJ Hardy. And I just picked up Mike Moscas, which is supposed to be a potential great one, but he's not doing too well, so I may drop him for Chipper Jones because Chipper Jones is doing freaking crazy. So this is what I do. I monitor the free agency. I look down here. They sort it based on percentage owned. I look and see who's available, and it looks like Chipper Jones is available. As a result, Cardinals will start Friday. Pinch hitter if needed. Soreness. Okay, sorry. I always look at a player. Always look at the news because these guys spend their lives giving us these news. You look at the stats, you see why a player is rated really high. Like you'll have a player who hit a grand slam and like had 2 stolen bases, and he'll have a really good rating over 15 days. But you realize, wait a minute, he's really not that good because he's only had a couple good games. Well, as you can see, Chipper's had a couple good games, a little bit more than just a couple good games. So he's something you want to look into. Here's what I do. I go from stats to research. In this tab, play rating of 7 days, 15, 30, 2011, and position rank. I look and see how well they're doing. Based on throughout this, like it's kind of like a 30, 15, and 7 day. You want to look at a player and you think you want to add him. You want to see if he's on his cold streak or his down streak. You take a look at the 15, the 30. As you can see, his Chipper's on an up streak here. And on the other end, you could see, oh my God, Alicias Escobar. Let's see what's going on with him. He is just freaking out. He is batting like perfect. 3 for 3, 3 for 5, 2 for 4. Stolen base in almost every game, which is very, very valuable. Holy smokes. I may have to pick this guy up. He's a shortstop. I don't know if I have much available at that position. No wonder why Scudero's been starting. Lowry's been hurt. This is kind of cool about fantasy baseball is you get to learn about players that you would never have known about before. Oh, wow. Vernon Wells is doing good, too. Oh my God, 2 home runs. He's been hurt. All right, we're going to have to look into him too. But that's what I do. This is what I do. I look at all this stuff. I look at all the stats. Position rank is really important too. You find out how well they are. Pitchers, really hard. I don't know how to do this, but I just look for good players, good pitchers. Look at Max finally doing good. I dropped this sucker, and look at this guy. He gets 3 freaking wins. You got to be kidding me. I kept him all year long, and I threw this little patch here of losses, and it was just horrific. 7 earned runs per game, 5, and then his past 2 games he's had 1 earned run, 2, and he's got 3 wins. Wins. Basically, you go in your standings. You find out every single stat category has they just total up all your stats, and whoever has the best stat in that category gets 10 points, and second gets 9, third gets 8, and all the way down to 1. They total them up all across the board, and you get them all total right here, and then you find out who's in first place, second place. As you can see, as I'm in third. Now, pitching is one key about pitching is you have this thing called max and pace. Fantasy baseball allows you 200 max starts. Otherwise, you have someone jumping in who's on there every day like me and just putting constant starting pitchers in every single day because they let you know when they're starting. Well, what you want to do is you want to maintain about no more than 4 or 5 starting pitchers throughout the year, because that's about 200 starts between all of them. And you want to make sure that you don't freak out here, because you'll use up all your starting pitching. Like I have Dan Herron, and I have Josh Beckett. And these guys, I want every single start of theirs. I don't want to get to 200 starts because I use like these weird dudes and they took up a start for that category, and I'm just like, frig, what do I do? I still have Josh Beckett. I have to drop him or keep him on my team. So what I do is I add relief pitchers throughout the year. Not every one of these pitchers is a closer, but luckily I picked them up right as they were becoming a closer. The only true closers were Riviera and Kimbrell. What I did is I searched through the league and I find those pitchers, like, because when you first start your league, you want to look at the free agents, really important, and find out who gets hurt. Like if someone gets hurt or does really bad at closer, they'll go to the next guy. Like Brandon Leak, he was not the original closer, I believe, and all of a sudden he started getting tons of saves. He got 3, so I picked him up and I kept him. Then Farnsworth, he was not the original slate. Tampa Bay wasn't really sure who they're going to use for a closer, so I picked him up. So look, I got 3 solid closers just from picking them up out of free agency. I've got a couple of starters here that are always want to keep 2 or 3 good starters, and the other 2 you just kind of float them or figure them out, or if you're lucky enough to get more than 2 good starters, then you're lucky. But I also picked up like Johnny Ventures. Here's the last thing I want to talk about is relief pitchers that don't get don't get saves. You want to pick them up too, because they'll give you like an inning with a strike or a strikeout or 2 strikeouts or 3 strikeouts. Get these holds, which don't matter, but they're still giving you good ERA, good whip, and they're not wasting a start, if you know what I mean. Picking up 3, sometimes these guys will go a whole game with 3 Ks, 9 innings, or 7 innings and not even get the win for you. So you want to pick up those good players there. So this has been your fantasy couple minutes with JJ, the champion of every league I've ever been in. Hopefully I can continue that this year. Have fun. If you have any questions, write them down in the thing. Let me know what you feel. If you have any questions about adding or dropping players, let me know that too. Other than that, I'll talk to you later. Peace.